Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. The talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is internationally syndicated solely due to the love and support that you all continue to give. We're available across all major distributors, and as long as you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in, because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Cleous G Young. And we're going to be discussing his incredible book, The Mountain of Miracles. Man, it's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's a lot of other places, but do yourself a favor, all right? Head on over to his personal website. That's the mountainofmiracles.com. There, gather more information on him, on this book, hyperlinks set up to take you to the purchasing pages. But man, get this, all right? The Mountain of Miracles, that's the anchor for today's discussion. But that's not all right? Cleous has been putting in some work. He's got 9 other titles at this time. Hopefully a lot more on the horizon. So remember, a one-stop shop for it all. That's the mountainofmiracles.com. Head on over there today and figure out what it's all about. Now, before I go any further, I want to quickly take this opportunity and point out the fact that he was brought to us by Author Reputation Press. So for writers out there listening in who have gone through their process and now you find yourself at a peculiar position, right? You find yourself between a rock and a hard place because you work so tirelessly to create this masterpiece, but now you need the world to see it. Well, if that's you, head on over to authorreputationpress.com and gather all the ways that their fantastic team is more than equipped to help you do just that. And listen, people, it is an absolute pleasure to have Cleous here on the line. Man, listen, some books entertain, and there's nothing wrong with that. But others, man, they quietly rewrite how you see your own life. And the latter, yeah, that's where we find ourselves today. All right, because, see, Cleous has written this book. I mentioned it before. It's called The Mountain of Miracles. It's a tale of discovery, divine purpose, and what happens when greed threatens to undo a community built on love. Now, it's an important discussion to be had. It's much more than an entertaining read, and it's one that feels eerily symbolic for where we are today. I mean, you look around and man, how many of us can see representations of that, where greed just kind of wiggles its way in and disrupts some things. I can think of a number of places and communities and businesses where that is the fact, unfortunately. You guys have heard me, I've mentioned this a number of times, like just one particular industry is the healthcare industry, right? My wife is a physician. I hear about the dark side of things all too often, where people are, unfortunately, placed in these difficult positions because they want to receive the proper health care, but damn, they don't want to lose their entire well-being because of it, because they just can't afford it. You hear about insurance companies declining to represent somebody because they went to the wrong doctor, they went to the wrong hospital, as if when you just broke your leg, that's something you're thinking about. I wonder if this particular hospital or this doctor is within my coverage. Man, forget all that. You can miss me with that. This is something, I'm getting off on a tangent now. You guys know I do that from time to time. This is something that, man, you read this book, but when you start to look in between the words, reading in between the lines, you're going to find representation everywhere. And that is why this is a book that you need to add to your shelf, man. Get comfortable, because this one is going to land close to home. All right, let's get it started. Cleous, first and foremost, welcome to the network, and thank you very much for being with us. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Cleous, listen, man, it's a pleasure to have you here. Like I mentioned, I think your book, it represents so much, brother. Like, again, it's an entertaining read that people are going to be able to just get lost in on a rainy day. But it also carries wisdom that I hope a lot of them are going to be able to take to the bank. So we're looking forward to it, man. First and foremost, Cleous, tell us more about yourself and your background.
So my background is starting out on the island of Jamaica. So I grew up in Jamaica and then migrated here. Ironically, we're in the season of what is called World Cup. that was my vision when I came here to America, with this boyhood dream of saying that I wanted to be the next Pele. And being that America is represented as the land of opportunity, I thought to myself, if I came from Jamaica at a younger age and came over here, if I was exposed to better practice, better equipment, better opportunities, then that would actually lead me to actually becoming the next Pele, which was my boyhood dream.
Yeah.
I came to America, but one thing I realized real quick was that America wasn't a football country, so they call it soccer over here. So that became very daunting for me. I attended high school here, played on the soccer team, still had the vision to go to college and become the next Pele. But after college, I realized something like I envisioned what it would be like to be the next Pele. And when I saw the luxury life and the celebrity lifestyle, that literally made me give up that dream because I was like, that's not what I want to become. And at that particular moment, I was introduced to myself looking at life and saying, hey, I want to become something more meaningful out of life. Back then, it was more associated. You know how they say like a blonde model doesn't have no sense. They just know how to model. Back then, it was like looking at it and saying, oh, you're going to be a celebrity. And the only thing that you can do is just kick a ball in a goal and you being celebrated. Mm-hmm. And when that came to me as a vision, I was like, that's the day that I actually ended that boyhood dream and went on a journey of starting to search for something more meaningful in life. And that led me to writing. Started writing poems, then from poems to short stories, from the short stories to the books, to plays, to documentaries. All of that just evolved over the time. And the more I wrote is the more I was finding myself and finding something more meaningful in life than just saying, hey, I have the ability to kick a ball. This is more like using more for intelligence skills. So that's where I actually started to formulate my life now. And it just started to open up new opportunities for me.
Listen, let's dive into the book now. Let's not waste any more time. The Mountain of Miracles. Tell us more about it.
So, when I was listening to the introduction of what you just talked about and you referenced the healthcare. I know it wasn't written in that context, but for somebody who have been through the system where I went through the academics, got the degree in human services and psychology and started to understand the health industry, it's the same conclusion that I drew with what you just said.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like this story is something where it's called the Mountain of Miracles. It's actually a grandfather and a grandson going on a daily journey in search of herbal medicine. But what they found was this village of brotherly love that offered them miracles to actually their life itself. So it went beyond just saying, hey, I can find something that's going to make me feel better, which is the herbal remedy, to now finding what is called a community of love. The village is actually called the Village of Brotherly Love. And that was what started to now appear in their life. And then that now morphed into miracles starting to happen in their life.
Cleous, man, I can't help but just stop and think, imagine a world like that. This is a fictional place, but my goodness, if we could mimic that, right? If we could emulate that and actually have pockets of community. Wow, man, how beautiful would that be? That would be absolutely incredible. Talk to us now. You led us through your background. So we know about your journey and really where the love of writing comes from. Wanting to do something that can have a positive influence, right? And impact people in a positive way. Well, talk to us about this particular storyline and what inspired the journey.
It's funny because I was dating someone back then when I originally wrote it. This is actually a republication, and it ties into what you just said. It's like a timely manner that needs to be addressed with this greed concept of society.
Yeah.
However, it started out where I was dating someone, and what I did in the dating process, I used to write her poems. and she fell in love with those poems. So when we got together now, I was like, I don't want to stop that. I want to continue that now. It's like, hey, this is the tool that I used to get you. And sometimes, when you use something to get another person to be a part of your life, now that the person is a part of your life, it's like you stop it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, what I did, I continued writing a poem each month for her. And one of the month, I wrote this poem. It was called The Prophetic Artist. And what I was doing in that poem, I was prophesizing that we were going to be together for the rest of our life.
Mm.
And after that, now, finished the poem, I saw how she reacted. I was like, wow, she reacted much more than she reacted with the previous poems per month that I gave her. And it inspired me to say, hey, wonder if I could write a short story around that, like a 2-page story, which I did. And from there now, it inspired me to actually write my first book, because I was like, wow, this could be turned into a children's story.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, at that particular time, I didn't know how to write a story, a children's book story. I just knew how to write a poem. And what I actually did at that particular moment, I prayed and I asked God for 7 chapters. And within a week, 7 chapters were completed. And that's how my first book came about.
Cleous, man, I'm just going to be the first to say it. You have no idea what you just did. For all the brothers out there, man, listen, women are listening to this podcast right now, and they're like, wait, hold on. This man was writing a poem a month? I can't even get my husband to take the trash out on time. It's like, man, it's pulling teeth. Now, listen, people, don't at me, okay? Don't be sending me in the comments and coming at. I didn't do it, all right? It was clear. It was all clear. No, I'm just messing with you guys. Listen, head on over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, themountainofmiracles.com. This is a fantastic book that you're going to want to add to your shelf. A wonderful story, but again, a great message. And then also, remember, be on the lookout, man, because there's a lot of other ones there. And check out some of his poetry. Yeah, maybe you didn't write it, but you can still use it, right? You can still pass it on to your significant other. Get some brownie points, Anyways, Cleous, man, my follow-up question now that I want to go into. I talk to writers often, and a common thing that they bring up is, write what you know, write what is happening. And, listen, inspiration is funny that way because you can find a muse in so many different aspects. I'm curious, when you were writing this book, man, was there a moment in the story that made you pause and think differently about someone in your own family?
No. So, again, going back, I started out where I prayed for the information that I actually wrote. Mm-hmm. And I just sat down and I wrote it. A part of what you had mentioned in the beginning around this divine order or divine concept, to me, that's what happened in my life. It was like a divine intervention of me writing my first book. However, over the years now, what I started to realize, it was like, hey, you didn't just write an inspirational story. It's like a subliminal message from your own life.
Yeah.
So I started to see like things happening in my life that was a part of the book. Perfect example, right? When I came to America, as I mentioned earlier, I came and I lived in what is called the Poconos. This is in a part of Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. When I wrote the book and the story takes place in what is called a village of brotherly love. Later on in life, I end up living in Philadelphia, which is where I'm at now. And the city is actually called the City of Brotherly Love. And that's what actually kept me here for so long, because I was like, this can't be accidental that I'm living in a whole nother city, not aware of this city being called this. And it's like, I hit it right on the head. So it's like coming here now, I started to see a reflection of certain things in the book that revolves around my life. So that's how now I started to look at the republication, where it's like, hey, let me update these things. And then now, from a knowledge standpoint, let me include some of the things. So from a personal standpoint, I started to look at the knowledge that's available. And it's like, how do I insert these things now where it becomes like a timeless masterpiece that could be shared with our younger generation to say that, hey, now that I'm older, I can see how this can be passed down, which is ironic because the grandfather was also passing down the wisdom to the younger, the grandson in the story.
You know, and that's a great segue here, Cleous, because as we start to tie out here, I wanna let's utilize that, man. Like you're talking about these things that you've incorporated into the book. Well, if you know, the hidden village in your book, as you mentioned, is built on love, it's built on respect, and
Yeah.
these are
Yes.
pillars of any strong community that we strive for, right? We may fall short often, but that I think is something that's always baked into any good community, society all across the world. Well, if you could bring one custom from that village into your community, or if you could advise people listening right now, if there was a particular custom that they should be trying every single day to infuse into their lives, what would that be?
So the book, the story revolves in the village of brotherly love, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what they actually use to govern the village of brotherly love is respect. Like
Love
no
that.
matter who they are, they gain respect for each other. They gain respect for what you're able to do. No one disrespect anyone in this community. So for me, when I started to look at that as a correlation in society, sometimes we have some ideas that we want to put out and someone finds it disrespectful to come and demolish those ideas. When you look at society, we have built society. If you look at it from, say, like an African American society, right?
Yeah.
We have built something like what is called Wall Street. And then someone just decided to say, hey, I'm going to be disrespectful and just tear that down. So when you look at it, yes, it's a fictional story, but the messages that can be taken out of that is to say that, hey, respect. When we start to respect each other, then what happens now? We start to now love each other. We start to show more value in each other. And what happens now, it opens up the possibility for greater things to happen, which is dynamically what happened in the Mountain of Miracles. When they started to respect each other, they started to be on what is called one accord. When they started to be on one accord now, then something higher than them started to appear in the actual village now.
Yeah.
And that's what is called the miracle itself.
People, listen, we've barely scratched the surface, man. You know where you gotta go. All right. There's so much to be found. There's a number of other titles to check out. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, themountainofmiracles.com. You know, it's interesting, man. Like, I started this discussion, like we started off by chasing a story, right? Wanting to figure it out. But yeah, I feel like we found a mirror because as I said in my opening, like there are so many similarities. Yeah, we don't live in an actual village and you know, miracles are few and far between and sometimes they almost seem non-existent, but this is something that carries weight, man. And I genuinely hope, like I really do mean this, like I genuinely hope that each and every one of you listening in right now, you let it land where you need it most. You share it around the dinner table, you share it with a friend, or you hold it within yourself in that one quiet moment that you've been avoiding. Like the book ends on the last page, but it continues in each and every one of your choices as you carry on. And maybe that's it, right? Like maybe the real hidden village is wherever love and forgiveness and respect win out against fear. And there's, oh my goodness, like I feel like such an old person now, Cleous. I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. Like I'm not that old, but my goodness, man, I'm not no spring chicken anymore, brother. Like, yo, ever since I had children of my own, my entire world shifted. Because now the way I view the world is always on. Like it's funny. My wife and I, we just took a trip recently and like she also similarly as we became parents and as we got older and stuff, it's just like she's becoming a little bit of a worrier, right? Like she worries a lot for certain things. And as a parent, that's kind of the way it is. And I remember just, you know, jokingly teasing her about it. But like I view life from that perspective now, man. Like ever since having kids, like there's so much division. There's so much hatred. There's so much anger.
Yep.
And I recognize that so much now because this is the world that my children are going to be in. Like right now, they're babies, man. Like they're 3 in a year and a half. So I can protect them from 98% of what the world is going to throw at him at this moment, but I can't protect him forever. And conversations like this, man, books like this, I firmly believe that it's a precipice to raising our awareness, to getting conversations started. And if we can do that, I believe tomorrow we could find that hidden village, but it's going to take each and every one of us to pursue it. So listen, man, keep up the fantastic work. This was a true honor to have you here. And once again, thank you for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Thank you for having me. Though you weren't the author, for me, it's like I can endorse everything that you said.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.